Oh, maybe now is when people could hear me. What's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. I've been using like multiple different interfaces. So I'm using Webinar Jam today. Sometimes I use Google Hangouts a lot for the YouTube Live. So, all right, sound should be working. I see there's at least one person here in the chat. So let me know if you could hear me. Most of the time, if people can't hear me, I'll get, someone will say, hey, we can't hear you. So usually this is a good thing. All right, I see we got plenty of people on now. Thank you for joining up today. Really appreciate it. Let me know where you're from. We got Dennis on, my man Dennis. Pavel is on as well. Excellent. Other Douglas, Lachey, John. Cool. Very good. Good to have everyone on. Thanks for letting me know. So today we're going to talk about the Amazon affiliate reviews, like the format. I'm going to give you the format as well. I'll talk about that in a second, but I have, I'm using Webinar Jam to the fullest today, and I have the ability to share the file with you directly, which is kind of cool because most of the time I don't do that. Paul, what's up? By the way, people, let me know where you're from and everything. If it's your first time on, I'm really interested to hear that as well. And we'll give people a minute or two to join. I'll tell you, a short story. Yesterday, it was warm here. I'm in Bozeman, Montana, by the way. It's kind of close to Yellowstone National Park. There are mountain ranges around me, part of the Rocky Mountains. And Mary's on from Ireland, by the way, and Adam is on. It's the first time live. Excellent. Good to have you both on. Tony from Finland. We have an international gathering here. So yesterday it was warm. It was like sunny, blue skies, like 70 degrees. That's like pretty warm for around here this time of year. And it was great. This morning there's like like a half an inch of snow on the grass. It blew in overnight, pretty chilly. There's like clouds on the mountains. You can't see the tops of them. So it's just cloudy, and it'll warm up a little bit today to like the 40s or so Fahrenheit. But yeah, it's a little chilly. We have Brian from Arizona. Welcome. Pavel from Moscow. Awesome. So we'll get rolling here in a second. I think we have the crowd still growing, but hopefully we'll get everyone we need on. So the weather changes fast here. I mean, we get a lot of snow here in Bozeman, like 80 inches. So yeah, it's a pretty decent amount. Especially, I mean, I'm from Atlanta. We got like half an inch of snow per year or so, something like that. Every couple of years we'd get a few inches, but it took a little while to learn how to drive in the snow, but it's really not too bad around here. All right. Jared from New Hampshire, awesome to have you on. Tony says it snowed like 20 centimeters last night, suddenly. Interesting. Chris from Minnesota. Chris, I heard I talked to someone from Lead Pages and Drip, and they said it was starting to get cold in Minnesota, a little rainy. And John is from Oregon, but you're looking at moving to Montana when you sell the farm. Very cool. What part of Montana are you looking at? And Ron is there from South Africa. And Chris said it's supposed to snow tomorrow. Yeah. Winter is setting in. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. The people that are late, well, they can catch up. So, all right. Thanks, everyone, for showing up on time. Let's get to it here. All right, I need to share the screen, and there we go. Perfect. So again, this is the Amazon affiliate reviews that convert. This is the free training for that, right? Couple things to note, just from a logistical standpoint. If you can't hear me or the screen freezes up or anything like that, refresh your browser. There's probably like a little refresh button that allows you to do that. And also let us know in the chat, other people, if it's a widespread issue, then everyone will be saying it. And that'll, I kind of keep an eye on the chat. I try not to get too distracted, but yeah, if something goes wrong, if something is not working, refresh it. It could just be on your end. That happens fairly often. And Dimitri is on also, and so is Adrian. Welcome, both of you. And John mentioned Columbia Falls. Nice. I don't think I've been to Columbia Falls. I've heard of that town, but haven't been there. All right. And you can hear me, but I always put this slide in here because if you don't, then you'll end up doing a whole webinar and no one can hear you. That's happened before. So I always like to get a feel for who's watching, a baseline of the audience. So let me know just in the chat, have you created a site before? So you just say, yeah, I've created a site, or no, I'm thinking about it, or whatever. Who am I? Doug Cunnington, mentioned it a couple times. I'm the founder of Niche Site Project. I've been working on internet marketing stuff for about 4 years. Prior to that, I had about 10 years of project management, corporate management consulting experience. That is a picture of me with my late dog Brody there at the Beartooth Pass. That's a couple hours from here. That was like over, I think it was like the July, that may have been like July 4th, actually. We drove up, the wildflowers were amazing. Of course, you could see like the mountains in the background of the snow, and you're at 12,000 feet. Really amazing up there. Amazing drive. Why should you listen to me? I have a past track record with niche sites, personally. I've coached a lot of other people as well. I've, done guest blogging, guest posting on many different big websites, and I've been on several podcasts as well. Additionally, I'm a professional. I'm a project management professional, and that is a pretty tough certification to get. So I do show that off because, hey, why not? It costs several hundred or thousands of dollars. And if you're interested in that, to see what it actually takes, you can go to pmi.org and you'll see that it's actually pretty tough to get a PMP certification. And I do say that I'm professional as well. There are many other different online instructors and stuff that are more on the lazy side, and they kind of say everything's easy, and they say that they're lazy and that kind of stuff. That is not me. I work really hard. I get obsessed with stuff. So depending on where you gravitate towards, I respect everyone's opinion. If they want to, be lazy, or if they want to work hard, just be sure you're following the people that are most like you or where you want to be. So that's all I'll say about that. Okay, and I asked the question before if you've created a site before, and I see a lot of yeses, yes, several. Got other Doug, got Mike, Dimitri, Jared. Tony has a few sites. Pavel, yes. John, yes. Adrian is playing around with it. You have one as well, Adrian, for sure. And Kyle says you've had one, but you haven't added anything in recent times. And Pavel does not. And some people have authority sites. So do you have a profitable niche site? So let me know if you're making money from it at all. I said profitable, but if you have any revenue coming in, even if you haven't hit the break-even point, if you're making money, congratulations, you're in the top 0.5% of people that think about doing anything online. The reality is most people don't do anything. They just think about maybe wanting to starting a site, maybe to start a site, but most people don't take any action. So congratulations if you have a site at all. That's awesome. I have been featured on these sites here, and I was featured earlier this year on Social Triggers by Derek Halpern. So I won't read them all out. I have a lot of other appearances or whatever in many other different places, but I haven't updated this slide. But those are some big ones out there, folks that have referenced me. All right. The other thing is I've had a lot of ups and downs. So it's very interesting to see the highlight reel from people when you only hear about the good stuff, but I share the good and the bad stuff. And, some of these points in time, I'm pointing at the screen here, but you can see that, I got success. I found my way to some success pretty quickly, but then, my sites were penalized, and then I tried to, ramp up and scale, which was a bad idea. And, that I scaled too fast, and, I got penalized again. So nowadays I don't do like the riskier gray hat activities that I was doing before. Very white hat, very long-term approach, very methodical, very slow, and it feels way better. I don't have the stomach to deal with like losing a multi-six-figure website overnight for, being in a hurry. So just a quick note there, and then I will brag about the site that my friend, my business partner, and I sold earlier this year in June for $235,000 via Empire Flipper. So that was super cool and crazy. I just can't believe it. I still can't believe that. All right. By the way, Q&A is at the end. You can for sure ask questions throughout. I will not answer them just so I can work through the presentation. There's a ton of material today. I'm going to have to talk quickly and have to talk fast, and that's why I've been drinking coffee all morning long. It's very helpful if you mark your question as a question. So be sure you mark it as a question, and I'll be able to see it a little bit more easily, and mark it off when I answer it. And back to the question that I asked before. By the way, thank you everyone for participating in the chat. I like to have the back and forth here. So Tony says, or Mary mentions you're working on an authority site. Tony is making some money, but from one side, but others aren't doing anything yet. Ron is still working on his first dollar. Lachey made her first dollar. That's awesome, Lachey. Congratulations. Jared's making some money. Furhan, barely any traffic, so no income. Paul's on your way to a $30 a month, which is awesome. I mean, with the retail season ramping up, there's no reason. I mean, that sort of trajectory is probably going to be a couple $100 in December. Pavel says none of your sites get organic traffic. Chris is working on a site. Adam doesn't have any money-making sites, but you've had some success in the past, which is cool. Okay, let's get to the meat of this. I thought a different slide was coming up. Okay, let's talk about why niche sites. I think because of the crowd we have today, a lot of people do have sites. So I'm going to go fast through this. But I love niche sites. I think it's the best way to get started online and working for yourself in general. It's cheap and easy to get started. Basically, for like $150 or so, you can like get a hosting package. You could buy like a very nice premium theme today and launch your site today. Like you can launch a site that quick. And if you are not doing anything else, like by the end of the weekend, by like Sunday, 3 days time from now, you could have like 5 posts up, right? It's not going to be pretty, probably, if you've never used WordPress before, but like it's fast and it's not that expensive to get started. When you think about the fact that you could sell a site that's making money for multi-6 figures, right? Of course, it takes a lot of work to get there. It's not easy, but it's possible. Next, if you learn the principles that I guess are needed to have a niche site or an authority site that's earning money, you're learning SEO, you're learning about hosting, you're learning about domains and DNS, and you're learning about writing, maybe whatever topic that you're getting into, you have like a full suite of digital marketing skills. So even if you find that like niche sites aren't great for you, and maybe you only, maybe you get a site to like $100 a month, and you can go out to eat like an extra time with your family per month or something, like a small thing, right? And or maybe $100 a month is big for you, and you can like buy a car with that. I don't know, everyone's in a different spot, but the point is, even if you don't stick with niche sites, if you go to client SEO for local businesses, Okay. And I see someone just said went offline. Let me check on it. All right. I'm back. All right. So I'm back. At which point did everyone lose me? Any clue there? You know, I probably said some really awesome stuff and now it's gone. All right, I'm just going to get into it. 2 minutes. Okay. I'll summarize the last 2 minutes and just say niche sites are a really good way to get started online. Okay. We're going to get into the Amazon review stuff. I will mention I'm going to talk about 5-figure niche site. I rarely pitch anything or try and sell anything, but today I'm going to talk about 5-figure niche site because the course is open for enrollment. That's my course about niche sites and Amazon affiliate marketing. So I'm going to talk about it later today once we get done with the presentation. All right. So the perfect Amazon review. Let's have a look, sort of like a high-level view, and this template right here is available. And because I prepared ahead of time, I'm going to share the file with you. And I think you could download the file so you could look along with me as we go. So I hope that works. I haven't tried this download thing, but basically this is how you can write a perfect review. It is modular. You can use this for individual product reviews. You could use it for, reviews where you're reviewing like 10 products and that sort of thing. I'm going to talk about a couple different areas, but it's modular. You can, take this, use it. Give it to your VA, give it to your writer, and they can understand how they could plug and play. The best way to use it is to take this idea and then customize it for yourself. When you're first getting started, it's totally, you copy other people, right? You copy other people's formats, you copy this template that I'm giving you here. But once you develop it into your own and you say, oh yeah, for the introduction paragraph, I want it to be in this format. I want it to be like 8 sentences long. The first 4 sentences do this, next 4 do that. That's when it's super powerful. So customize it once you get a feel for how your style is. So first off is the title or the headline. And this is basically the title section for the WordPress area. And you get a little bit into copywriting here, but we won't go too deep. Now, I'm going to give examples throughout this. So I'm going to tell you about it, and then I'm going to show you an example. So the title needs to be catchy. It needs to have the keyword phrase in it, right? So if you want to rank for a term, you want to have the keyword phrase in the title. If there can be other words in there, that's fine. Just write it so that the title makes sense. And a great way to do it, these are 2 snippets from a site. So this is from the Wirecutter here. So if you just go over to wirecutter.com, you take a look at the titles of their post. Those are awesome titles, right? They're awesome titles and they're keyword rich. So you can get an idea how to do those. The most basic will be best noise canceling headphones, right? Simple. Best earbuds under $100. Great, simple. The copywriting portion comes in where you see best Wi-Fi router for most people in parentheses, right? So that's kind of cool. You could say, you don't want to be clickbaity, but you could introduce some curiosity into it. So for most people, it qualifies, who that is. You can add another qualification best Wi-Fi router for large offices, something like that, right? So you can qualify people and let them know that they're in the right place. This other example here is from Outdoor Gear Lab. So again, same sort of thing. They are adding the year in here often, we see it in half of them, right? So that's another tactic that you can use. Put in the year, for example, just so people know that it's recent. There are many other tricks for like headlines and titling things, but it's beyond the scope of what we're covering today. Just keep it simple in most cases. Next is the introduction paragraph. So the intro paragraph is important because you want to hook people. Additionally, you want to qualify them. So when you think about the title that I mentioned before, and you look at the best Wi-Fi router for most people, you want to like speak to those people. So you want to sort of hook them in and say, hey, are you looking for a Wi-Fi router that works for most people's homes? That's what you want to do. You want to qualify them. And then further, what I like to do in the intro paragraph is put a call to action. So this helps the conversions for people that are in a hurry. And we can see it right here on the wire cutter for best action cameras. And you could see they put a call to action like in the first like 2 sentences or something like that. Actually, that's is that one long sentence? So they put it in the first sentence. They serve people that are in a hurry. And honestly, for me, a lot of times I'm looking for a product. Like I was recently looking for like another microphone for like traveling a little bit, right? So I want to have a little bit smaller setup. And if you go to Amazon and you just look for like USB microphone, you're going to get like so many results. It's overwhelming. I don't know like why certain microphones cost like a quarter of others. And sometimes I want to see a curated list. So that's where this call to action comes in nice. I just want fewer to choose from, and someone like the wire cutter put in the time to find the best one. So there you go. You see a strong intro paragraph. You'll also notice this best action camera right here, this notation. That is a keyword, right? That's the keyword they're trying to rank for in the first paragraph. So a little on-page SEO tip. You want to have your keyword in the first like paragraph or so. Something early on, pretty quick. Next, an image. So for me personally, I like to have like a half-width image near the top. Obviously, like sort of like this. They have a full call to action. You don't necessarily need that, but I like to have an image up there. Again, from a copywriting standpoint, it makes the lines shorter. People can read faster. So when you have an image at the top and you also have the the strong hook for the intro paragraph, it's like, oh, I'm in the right place. Best action camera, awesome. There's a picture right there, and I like to have that near the top. In fact, I prefer the half-width image over the large featured image that a lot of people are suggesting nowadays. The large feature image, we see a picture, and then unfortunately, there's like no writing, nothing above the fold. I want like someone to be able to get hooked in and see my like content, see my words as quickly as possible, hence the half-width image. You'll see the wire cutter uses half-width images most of the time. They do have full-width images, usually further down. Additionally, I do a simpler call to action. I don't have like a custom like call to action setup like I'm displaying here. I just have the image with a caption. In the caption, I will have an affiliate link similar to what they have here. We'll talk about some of the tactics that they're using here, but for now, image near the top. That's what this section is for. So an image. All right. Next, comparison table. Tables are awesome because it is the best way to present like technical or like specifications or anything like that. For multiple products, it's like the fastest way to present the information in a way that you can consume it quickly. What looks terrible is if you see like technical specs, like the weight, the size, like the number of buttons on the widget, and the number of I don't even know what else. But if you see technical specs and they're written in like narrative form, that's terrible. It looks terrible, and you see like this stuff in a paragraph, and it's harder to read. What's cooler is to like have this in a comparison table. And if you have multiple products listed, well, that's a great way to like compare the products to each other. We'll get a little bit more into that in a second. We can see Outdoor Gear Lab, they are known for their tables. I think they get a lot of links because their tables are awesome. Same deal with Baby Gear Lab. They're part of the same company. But these tables are so thorough. I'm only showing like 1/3 of it. There's way more information in there. This just shows sort of like the core like ideas, the core specs that someone would care about, plus the pros and cons along with the bottom line. They even assign like an overall score, they have a star rating. So there's like multiple points in which someone can like gather good info. Additionally, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure like the weight and like the sizes that are available for these shoes are in there. You'll also notice that they don't have like, it's hard to read, but this says displaying 1 of 5 of 10, right? 1 through 5 of 10. So they have 10 shoes available that they could have listed here, but you don't want to list too many. Like 4 to 5 is like the ideal. Why? Good question. It's sort of like the paradox of choice, right? If there's too many options, people will think, hey, there's too many options, I don't want to make a decision. It goes back to my previous point. If I'm on Amazon, there's too many choices, I'm like, I don't have time to look. Just make me pick between 2. That's easier. So like 4 or 5 is sort of ideal. Anyway, tables are awesome. Even if you only have one product listed, if you list out the specs, then that's an easier way for someone to consume the information versus seeing it in like a narrative paragraph type form. Next, features. So these are really like specific to the type of product that you're reviewing. So you'll have to go and research the area a little bit, research the products, see what you can cover. Typically, you can go to the Amazon page, right? You can just go to the Amazon details page and you'll see like, what are they talking about? Those are the features. A lot of times they'll have features and benefits or benefits and features, so you can see like what you should talk about. Most of the time, this section like sort of manifests itself through a buying guide. So you could have a buying guide in your like review, right? So you have like specific products listed, but you also have like features that you should look for. And you can talk about the specifics. For example, for the boot section in Outdoor Gear Lab, they talk about the comfort of boots. And in this case, we're talking about a specific model. But you can see they talk about the toe protection and other things related to comfort. I'm not going to dive deep into the hiking boots, but if you go take a look at what other sites are covering and what manufacturers are talking about in their product listings, you'll get a really good idea about what is important for users. Next, this is where you break it down for features and specs for each model. Of course, this applies, specifically for the reviews that have like multiple products, right? So you have like the best hiking boots and you list like 10 of the hiking boots, right? So each of those have like a mini review where you talk about like each one of the boots and then how that boot like has the features, benefits that you talked about in the previous section. So in that way, you can really make this a modular and template driven piece of content. So not only is that easier for you to write when you're writing it, it also makes it way easier for writers that you may hire. You can also like put the specs for each of the models in there too. You can put those in bullets, put them in a table, whatever you want to do. Variation is good. Of course, for each of the models, you should probably keep the same sort of format. Again, that makes it modular, makes it easier for people to write. And we'll see that here. So back to the action camera example from the GoPro, they mention at least 3 cameras. They qualified them for the best action camera for most people. They go to the best action camera for people on a budget, and they go to like the best video quality possible. independent of cost or like versatility. So you'll see there, they're giving people a choice. Again, they're curating all the models out there. So instead of looking for like, looking through the list, so many different action cameras on Amazon, which I've done before, they just tell you like, hey, if you don't have much money, here's the budget option that's pretty darn good. They tell you the pros and cons and get right to it. If you're, a filmmaker and you need the best video quality, well, then they'll tell you that too. So you can see how this can apply for boots. You could really take the same idea and like the best boots for most people, best boots for people on a budget, best boots for, people that want like the longest lasting boot, or they need the warmest boot, or they need like 100% waterproof boots or whatever, right? You can tailor this to any product. Again, this is like features and specs for each model, and this is how you can make content that's super long, by the way. When you first write a review, maybe the mini reviews for each model are only, 300 words, but as the post gets traction and you see that it's getting traffic and you want to serve the visitor better, you can go and make those like mini reviews. Not so many, you can make them like 1,000 words each, right? So if you just talk about the specs for each model and the features, that is not hard to hit 1,000 words. And of course, even if you're just doing 5, well, the math is easy. There's 5,000 words on top of what you already had. So, super long form content is often preferable. Okay. Next, customer or user impressions. Basically, at this point, you should refer to a couple sources. 1, Amazon reviews, and 2, forums. Those are like the main areas depending on like what is most active for those type of products. Typically, you'll find tons and tons of information on Amazon, of course. They have so many reviews. Now, the key thing is you cannot just copy the Amazon content. That is going to get you in trouble in a lot of different ways. It can get you kicked out of the Amazon Associates program, and it can, well, actually, that's the main issue. There's some copyright issues associated with it, but mainly it'll get you kicked out of the program. And you can go to forums, right? So forums often will have like really in-depth information, and you can leverage that. Of course, you'd want to link to whatever forum you're getting the information from, but you could like rephrase it, and you could even quote people in small snippets. Okay, you have to be like mindful of copyright issues. You can't just copy like a whole section and present it as your own, but you could say, Boot Warrior 59 or whatever in this forum said he really loved these hiking boots because they were so comfortable and he didn't have to break them in, or whatever. But having the customer impression in there is really, really valuable. That is one of the reasons why people like shop on Amazon, because they can get a lot of reviews on there, or they could see user reviews. Of course, nowadays user reviews are like polluted with garbage because of like FBA stuff, but that's another story for another day. All right, next is a conclusion. So at this point, you can like just summarize what you've said. If you want to just keep it super brief, you can, just leave like a call to action. So this is back to the action camera from the wire cutter. So you can have like this last call to action and say, here's our favorite for most people. Here's how to get it. Like buy it on Amazon, whatever. If it's a little bit more complex, like for example, action cameras are like a high-tech item. New models come out all the time. There's competition. There's a lot of new developments, right? So if it's something like that, you have the opportunity to write a section like this, like what to look forward to, put release dates in there and have to make updates. Of course, the ideal situation is like you picked an item, a product line that doesn't have that like characteristic, but if you're like a technophile, then totally cool. You're interested in this stuff anyway. For me, I usually sort of just treat it like a normal like piece of content where I restate the facts and restate and summarize what happened before. So for me, the conclusion is really about just summarizing, because people skim. They don't read everything. So, okay. And that is the majority of what we have going on today. So I will give a couple examples, and we'll look at some real examples, like a good one and a bad one. And I'll just talk through this. I'm gonna probably keep it to just a couple minutes a piece, so I don't drone on and on and on again. So, and by the way, folks, if you do have questions, go ahead and just ask them now. I'll definitely get to them at the end, but go ahead and queue up the questions so I have a lot to go to, of course, at the end. Okay, so we'll look at a couple of specific examples, and if this works like it did before, we'll just open them up. So these are two sites in which I've already done site teardowns for. So if you haven't seen them, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can just search for them and watch the long form teardowns of each of these sites. So first off, we'll take a look at a bad example. So this is Car Seat Answers, and this was, in most, I'm going to mention it again here. I don't out anyone's sites. I only review sites that are already public. So this Car Seat Answers was featured on another website. I don't remember where I saw it first, but it was already out there. So first off, the site looks pretty decent. To be honest with you, I'd like a clean looking site like this. And sorry, I'm going to scrunch it back there. I like a clean looking site like this. It just appeals to me. And it's simple, right? So it's clean. There are images up top. So I'll try to apply it back to our format. So first off, the title is fine. Guide to the best and safest convertible car seats of 2017. So it hits all the marks there. Seems good. And as we go through, we see, none of these images are clickable, which is fine. There's no caption. It may be good to have a caption. From a usability standpoint, people do read, they look at images and they usually read captions. Now, as we scroll down, we'll see they don't have a call to action early. So that's not really good. They are using these H2 tags here. So H2 or H3, and you could just inspect those if you wanted to get a closer look. Oh, incidentally, they're H4, but that doesn't matter. It's a subheading, and that's a good thing to do. So they're using subheadings here. They're giving some information. So here's a classic example, right? They're listing all these, they're not specs, but they're listing sort of information, numerical information that would be cool to see in a table, or at least with some richer formatting, such as a bulleted list. So they could have presented this better. I will say I like, this Q&A format is one that I recommend. It's the FAQ method, FAQ method. So they're doing well with that. And then as we're scrolling down, I don't see, there's no other images, right? So there haven't been any other images. It would have been nice to have other images in here. The thing I see here, so I didn't mention it, but they have a fact, the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, blah, blah, blah. They are they're stating a fact here, but they're not providing us a link to the organization here. So it's they didn't do their homework, or is that a lie? When you are claiming facts from a nonprofit organization or a government organization, it's probably a really good idea to link to it. So they missed an opportunity there. Oh, and they put a link here. Fortunately, they provided ease of use rating. So they linked there. That's good. It would have been really cool to put a link up there just to the main site. But they saved it by putting the ease of use here. Scrolling down. Okay, finally an image here. and they say their top pick is the blah, blah, blah. So there's an image here. It's an affiliate link. This is an affiliate link as well. Actually, these are all affiliate links. So all of a sudden, they had like no affiliate links at all. And then I had to scroll down like 80% of, like, here's the little scroll bar. I had to scroll down like 80% of the page before I got to the first affiliate link. That's dumb. They should have like more affiliate links like earlier. As far as the number of affiliate links, probably for this length of page, this could be appropriate. However, they're all bunched up in one spot. It's like, come on, put a table up higher. They could have put a table up higher and then, you know, have an affiliate link for each one of the rows, and that would have been better to do. Here, they're mentioning different products, and they had an opportunity to use subheadings, but they did not use subheadings for each one of the products. They didn't really do a mini review in how each one of these products could, or how each one of the products stacks up as far as the features and the frequently asked questions that they used come into play. And that's about it. Like, they kind of did a poor job, and that's why I, you know, listed them as the bad one. Okay, I'm moving on to the best action camera, which Wirecutter is like one of the premier, like, they do some of the best content. It's the New York Times company now. They've rebranded recently. I need to do a whole new teardown here. But this one we can go a little bit faster because they basically do all the stuff that we're talking about. So one thing they do different, they have the bigger feature image at the top. Like I said, personally, I'm going for like the half width image here. So just a difference. They probably know better than me, but that's just my own personal preference. Okay. One cool thing that they do have in here that I don't mention is the last updated section. So on a few of my posts, I may note it, just like if it happens to be something that I update more often. But this is really cool, especially for a tech-oriented product. So as we go through here, you'll see their call to action quickly. They're like letting people know that they spent a lot of time testing it. They've used these products. People can relate to each one of these: hiking, cars, bikes, putting them on a dog, playing at the beach, blah, blah, blah. So they're giving examples, and they're like, these are things that people are interested in if they're interested in an action camera. They have their top pick here. They give you an idea of like why, and they call it out with this box here. So another thing to note, you can click on the image, you can click on this text, and you can click on the button. So that's pretty cool. Overall, they give someone options. You don't know if someone's like browsing on their iPad, on their phone, or on their machine. And as we're scrolling down, they give you, like I mentioned, the runner-up, best video quality possible, the budget pick, and so on. They have like a little bit of a table of contents section here, so you can like skip down to each one of the sections. I typically don't put those in, but those are nice to have for sure, especially when there's like so much information and it's so long. They do talk about why you should trust us, similar to the section I had before on why you should trust me. So that is, again, a good copywriting thing. If you're about to present yourself as an authority, you should explain why. And who should buy one? Again, it's actually pretty similar to my presentation today. So like, why niche sites? Like, I told you why. Who should be interested in it? People that are interested in the stuff that I talked about. And if we go through here, they talk about how they picked, which is interesting, right? So this doesn't fit in the format that I provided specifically because I just talked about the feature section. But if you refer back to the overall template, that feature section could be the buying guide. This is like the buying guide in a way, because then they talk about how they tested it and that sort of thing. This Our Pick, this is where they get into the individual features and how they stack up, sorry, the individual products and how they stack up to the features and what they're looking for. So that goes on and on for each one of the cameras. As I mentioned, they actually have like full width images like this. And I recommend that too. If you have, long form content, it's really good to break up the text with images, right? So you'll see like every now and then they'll throw one in. This happens to be camera related, so it's super easy for them to put sample images in here. However, if it's not, if it's some other product, show people using the product. You could show people that are like those that would use the product. So sometimes it's hard to find pictures of a specific product that you can use. So you can just put the same sort of people that may be interested in that. So in the interest of time, right, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward because it's a lot of the same. This is, of course, very long form content here. You'll also see that they get into the care and maintenance and the competition and the safety and so on and so forth. So again, the power with the template that I gave you is that once you start using it and you become more familiar with a specific topic for specific products, you'll understand where you need to add more information, especially if you look at those forums. If people are in forums, they're like obsessed with a topic. So really good idea to check out forums. There's long discussions, there's debates. People are really, really interested in it. Okay. And like I said, keep the questions coming. I see them over there. I'm excited to start answering them. But I am going to go back to the presentation for a minute here and talk about 5-Figure Niche Site. So you'll see, here's the product picture here. There's Dave, me and Dave doing some coaching and chatting here. But this course was basically created over the series of a few years. So I've been doing Amazon affiliate sites for about 4 years, if you remember that timeline. I learned a ton along the way. I've been in several mastermind groups where people are really high-end, like affiliates, right? So they have a lot of experience. So I've taken like bits and pieces from all over the place where I've learned them. I placed it together with my project management background. So it's like a solid framework using like agile project management. I won't go too big into that section, but I will mention one of the biggest differences between my course and other courses is I try and get that agile project management idea like in there early, so that instead of publishing 40 or 50 or 150 posts before you start doing any promotion or even getting any traffic, I get you to start quickly, publish like 10 posts and start promoting really fast so that within 6 weeks, right? I've seen it multiple times. If people participate in the course, if they work on it as we go through the course over the 8 weeks or so, like you'll start getting traffic and you can actually start getting your first couple dollars online. So I will go quickly through the units just so you have an idea of what's in there. And I'll let you know that, basically the first unit is like getting your mindset right. It's getting you into the, like, I guess the right frame of mind is the way to put it. So I mentioned it before, a lot of this, there's a lot of people online that would lead you to believe that everything's easy and everything's fast. And I'm here to tell you nothing's easy and everything's slow. Okay, so it takes time to like grow your business, and this sort of sets the stage for that, of course. Units 1 and 2 get into picking your niche, keyword research, and competition analysis. We go over like ways to brainstorm. We go over some of the specific types of keywords that are out there and why you want to aim for keywords that are going to convert for you, not ones which are just never going to make any money for you. And as we go into the competition analysis, I show you how to use metrics from various sources so that you can get an idea how to compare two different niches and sets of keywords so you can pick one that's going to be profitable that you could actually rank for. Super important. Units 3 and 4 are all about setting up the site, where I talk about like WordPress a little bit. It's not a WordPress course, but it's easy to learn about WordPress. But I talk about picking a domain name. I talk about themes. I know I see that David is asking a lot about themes, and other people have asked about themes. I'll come back to that in a minute. So I talk about themes, the plugins that you need, and sort of setting up your basic pages. Additionally, Unit 4 is all about content. So it's taking the stuff that you developed in the like units, let's see, the keywords that you found and the niches that you found in units 1 and 2, and the process to get content out of it, right? So you're going to learn how to like develop the content so that you get approved for the Amazon Associates program, to have the content so that it serves your users in the best way. And just, a lot of what we talked about today, like how to set up the reviews so that people will be driven to buy, and you're presenting the information in an authentic way. When we get to Unit 5, that is applying to the Amazon Associates program, which is, of course, critical. And if you work on the content as we go through Unit 4 and you publish it, how I describe, you should be fine. Next, we get to Unit 6, which is promotion and outreach. Really, it comes down to link building. So I go over my, specific process, and I feel that I'm like on the cutting edge right now. So most people right now are telling you to send out hundreds of emails. They're trying to tell you how to automate and scale your outreach. And what it amounts to is like spamming the internet and a bunch of people that don't want to get emails from you. It's kind of pointless to like automate and scale an inefficient process. I think Bill Gates has a quote around it, and probably a lot of other people, but like if you are scaling or automating an inefficient process, then you're just amplifying the noise, right? You're amplifying all the inefficiency to whatever scale you're trying to get it to. So unless you have like a tight, effective, right? Not efficient, you want to be effective. And the difference, by the way, like efficient is like doing something fast, and like effective is like doing the right thing. So it's really important that you're doing the right things. Unit 6 with link building takes you through the process. It's, something like 20 very simple individual steps that help you get links that, Google likes, right? White hat outreach. That's what we're doing. Unit 7 is scaling and growing, with an emphasis on like expanding existing sites versus starting other sites. Quick note, a reason why I do that is there's overhead with starting up an individual site, and it takes a certain amount of time for a site to be profitable, right? By the way, most people ask, like, when can I see my first couple bucks? If you follow along with the course, it can be as soon as like 5 to 6 weeks, right? If you follow along with the course, as soon as 5 to 6 weeks. You probably won't hit your first $100 month until like 4.5 to 6 months, maybe 7. Depends on your niche, depends on the timing, depends on so many things, right? And from there, once you hit the first $100 month, it could grow super fast. It can escalate to, $1,000 within a year, or it could be like $5,000 within a year, like Dave Fox. So I talked to him yesterday on the live stream, and it can increase very quickly. All that to say, I think most of the time it's better to expand on an existing site rather than to start others. And further, I need to shut up here so I can get to the questions, but the thing is, if you think, hey, I'm going to start one site, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start like 3 others at the same time. Here's the problem. If you start like 3 sites at the same time, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get content written, and I'm going to publish the content in a specific way and format it this way. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make small little mistakes. And the problem is, if you make a mistake and you publish like 10 pieces of content on one site, okay, you have to fix it in 10 places. But if you have 2 other sites where you did the exact same thing, that's a bunch of areas. Like that's another 20, right? So you're like amplifying your mistake across multiple sites, and that is very like disheartening and discouraging, and it's just not a smart way to work. What is smart or smarter to do is to create one site, learn along the way, and publish your content there. Get it right. You're going to make mistakes. In the second, pieces of content 11 to 20 on the first site, you'll do that right. And then when you learn as you go, you'll be able to improve as you go. But if you do all 3 sites at once, you're going to make the same mistakes over and over again. You're going to have to fix it everywhere. But instead, if you do it in an incremental way and you iterate, you're going to learn as you go and you're going to improve as you go, which is critical. Okay. Unit 8 is gray hat strategies. I touch on it lightly because some people are very interested in it. It is an effective way to work. However, I don't recommend it. And for me, the risk is not good enough. You can learn a lot by experimenting on the edge of what's acceptable. Again, I don't recommend it. I don't do it for my big sites or anything like that. Unit 9 is expert interviews. Unit 10 is email list building. These last 3 are new. So email list building is new, and this is specific for Amazon affiliate niche sites. I've built a few different pretty large email lists. One is 3,000, one is about 10,000 for niche sites. I also talk about beyond Amazon, so other like affiliate programs that are out there. So whether it's an info product, ClickBank, or a physical product with ClickBank, or it's through share a sale and individual vendors out there online. If you could buy something online, there's usually an affiliate program for it. And I talk about how to integrate that with your Amazon site. And email marketing is actually great. Like email marketing and other affiliate programs, that's a really good combination. And the last unit, 6-figure exit, and this is about selling a niche site the right way. I talk about my specific experience selling the site for $235K. So that is my pitch for 5-figure niche site. I can't list the prices here because I'm not sure where else this video is going to find its way to, but I can give you I think I can give you a link to go check it out. I imagine a lot of people have seen the sales page, but all the pricing is there. All the pricing is over there. There's different packages available, right? So there's also like payment plans. So if you don't have the cash up front, that is okay. There's payment plans, and it's a great community of people too. There's a Facebook group, so there's a lot of people you can meet with that have the same level of commitment as you, which is hard to find. But those are, if you're interested in this stuff, if you have listened to me talk for an hour about this, like those are your people. They understand what you're trying to do. I know for me, it was really hard finding people that, knew what the hell I was talking about. It's honestly still a struggle, but these are your people. I can tell you that now. All right, I'm back, full screen. Probably gonna lose my voice tomorrow. I don't know why I'm yelling. I could get closer to the microphone. All right, cool. We see a lot of questions here, so feel free to ask questions. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I appreciate everyone's patience as I was going through the presentation. And I know there was, I also appreciate that there were other people answering questions in there. It's great to have, input from everyone here. So, right. It does take a second to scroll through here, but feel free to continue asking questions as we go. I'm not sure what the glitch was earlier, by the way, but I'm glad that it cleared up on its own because I frankly didn't have anything to do. Okay. Furhan says, if you add the year to the title, do you republish the same post, just editing the year and republish, maybe with slightly updated content? Typically, I don't do that, but yeah, if you wanted to, you could just add the year to the title. You don't need to republish it. Like you could just update it in WordPress. Updating content is a good idea though. In the context of like doing it for the year, I don't do that, but like updating content is a good idea. Jared talked about if the year is in the permalink, you'll want to change that and make a redirect to the old to the new. True. If your year is in the URL, you would want to make an update there. But, you know, that's not a big deal. You could just 301 redirect. Ron says, what WordPress themes, both free and premium, would you suggest for an affiliate site like I'm describing? So for free, I would probably look at the themes by WordPress. They may be listed under Automatic, which is like the parent company. So those are good because Automatic put them out. They're by WordPress, like for real. So my first like sites, I used WordPress 2012. And I made like, you know, 5 figures from it, right? So you don't need a fancy theme or anything. As far as premium themes, it really doesn't matter. I will tell you that I don't actually recommend Thrive, right? So I actively don't recommend Thrive. I used to be an affiliate for them, but I had like issues with their content builder. I feel it's just like a bloated software app anyway, but I also had trouble with their support team, so like I just didn't get support quickly. So I actively don't recommend Thrive, but a lot of other people do, and a lot of other people are affiliates, so just keep that in mind. Further, the theme doesn't matter that much, to be honest with you. Okay, Adrian says, what if I have a group on Facebook where people are commenting on my post about those items? Can I add it to the review? I think so. So you would want to take the screenshot. You probably want to like blank out the person's name unless you get authorization from them, but like blank out the person's name in the picture and then you can just have the text, right? Like that's probably the right way to do it to preserve their identity. Jared says, you thought writing the price was against Amazon terms of service. And I know there was conversation about this, so I'll mention a couple things. Yeah, you're not supposed to list the price unless the price is pulled from the API. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can use like the Amazon Stripe native ads. You can use, there's some software products that'll pull it. You know what? I just don't list the price. It's not a big deal. However, one thing you should always remember, I showed an example from 2 very large sites. It was like Gear Lab and the Wirecutter. Don't think that they have, like, I don't want you to think that they have owned by the New York Times. I'm pretty sure they have like a dedicated account manager that works specifically with them. And if there's some issue, they talk about it and then they solve the issue, right? Like they work together. We're just regular folks. So just don't think that because you see something happen, I don't work that way. I kind of work in like sprints of work. I can tell you I have been, you know, personally for me right now, I talked to my mastermind. I'm going to take a step back, just chat with you for a second here. So in my mastermind group, I met with them today and I was like, hey guys, like, you know, we covered the whatever material, whatever goals that like we set and the hot seat and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, oh yeah, afterwards I chatted with them on Skype and I was like, I forgot to tell you, I published like 200 posts in the last couple months. Just forgot to mention it. And it's something that I talked about like in the summer and I was like, I got to get on it. I need to publish more content. So like finally, like I published a bunch more stuff and I was like, all right, you know what? I published a bunch, but I need to go back to link building because it is important, right? So it is important to get links even though you're publishing keyword golden ratio content. If you want to go from like number 3 to number 1, you may need to get a link. You may need to get some promotion stuff out there. So like I started to realize that in the last week or so, and I went out and emailed some people, like did some networking and whatnot, and got a few links, like I think like 3 or 4 in about a week. And I don't work on like guest posts per month because I have many other like projects and things that I'm working on. But so I work in sprints of work, which is evident when you get into 5-figure niche site. So I did a sprint of work and published like 200 posts, right? Spawned up a team, hired people from scratch, all that stuff. Excuse me. Then I realized that I need to, move back over and do some promotion, which is directly from the course, by the way. And I'm probably going to make a push for that. And I'm not going to aim for a certain number of guest posts per month. That's measuring, this is a productivity thing. That's measuring like it's called a lagging, it's like a lagging indicator, I think. And when you track lagging indicators, let's say we pick 10 guest posts in a month. It becomes we hit the end of the month and then I'm like, oh, I only got 7. Well, I failed that month and I don't have an opportunity to adjust. What I am going to do instead is track the leading indicator. All right, again, this is a productivity thing, like totally separate, but I think it's important to realize for like projects, especially stuff where you're managing yourself. You need to be tracking the leading indicator, so the inputs for what you're trying to do. So in my case, I will need to email X number of people per week, and you could back into it, right? So if I want to get 10 guest posts per month, well, that's cool. Let's say I get a 25% conversion rate. That means I need to email 40 people in a month, so I need to email 10 people per week. So that means each day I need to reach out to like 2 more like prospects that are out there. So does that make sense, Chris? I wouldn't ever track like how many guest posts per month. That's interesting. I would track how many people am I reaching out to per day. That way you could adjust. I get to the end of week 1 and I see, oh, you know what? I got like half as many responses as I expected. I need to reach out to 4 people per day, not 2. Does that make sense? Big digression. All right. Furhan says, does it violate Amazon terms of service if you don't have a live price but mention blah, blah, blah at the time of publishing? No clue. No clue. You could call in and ask, but my I guess point, it doesn't matter. Like don't list it and you'd be fine, or you could call in and check. But I don't think like if you started adding that to every one of your posts, it's not like your revenue is going to go through the roof. Like that part doesn't matter. Okay. Next, Dennis says, you appreciate the guide on the content structure. However, you think most of us have a problem connecting to the customer with regards to content. Do you recommend focusing on the specs of the product or just explaining to a customer how useful the product is to them? So you should always keep in mind like the visitor. So I think you honed in on a very important thing, Dennis. I would look at the like forums or Facebook groups that are associated with that particular product. In general, I don't think like explaining to the user, in general, it's hard to say. A specific type of user, let's say digital cameras, right? Mine's on the floor over there, but like the digital camera stuff, like people may be really interested in specs. So talk about the specs. However, another type of product, let's say it's a home brewing beer, like some sort of a kit or like some kind of a, what am I trying to like not go too geeky on you. But let's say it's just a piece of equipment like a wort chiller. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's to chill the beer before you put the yeast in. If you put the yeast in when the beer's or the wort is too hot, it'll kill the yeast. So you could tell a story about how you used to do your wort chilling and you had all sorts of issues, but now that you have this better wort chiller, you can do it faster, you save time, you can spend more time with your family. It's a story. So depending on like the type of user, you should like appeal to what they're interested in. And further, like most things, like no one cares about like right? No, you guys don't care about me. You care about like me giving you information or maybe telling you a story or something like that. And it's slightly entertaining, right? But you don't like, you're here because you want to learn something about Amazon affiliate stuff or internet marketing, right? That's why you're here. So remember that as you're writing the content. The visitor doesn't care about, you know, the website at all. They care about finding a product that can help them. So whatever the best way for you to present that information is, that's what you should do. David says, which authority word options you can set up, like email capture, you can set up all this stuff, and just, you don't need all that. Like at the beginning, you should focus on content, finding good keywords, and then promoting it. It's so simple. Steve says, do I use pricing on my sites? No. Lachey says, you publish some KGR content. Google says you get 110 searches per month, while other sources say 30. Which one of the tools should you be following for the best results? The Google data is probably more accurate than the SEMrush or Ahrefs. And you're saying the Google, yeah, Google's like local monthly searches is more accurate. You say, I was getting 3 to 5 visitors a day targeting those keywords. When you got to the top 5 for a keyword with 250 searches, the traffic shot up. Cool. I think I answered your question, but I'm unsure of the specifics. Next, do I have a traffic to item price ratio that I use to evaluate niches? No, sure don't. In the case study in the email the other day, it looks like the math comes out to be that the items were $38 a piece. So the magic with Amazon is you get credit for like any of the products that were purchased, right? In the cart, right? So any of the products that were purchased, you get credit, right? The thing is, like, people buy from like different product categories, so different commission rates are paid. So you could come up with like the average revenue per product, but you have to make many assumptions, which are eventually lead to like inaccuracy in the like data, which makes it like useless. So the idea is a wide range of products most of the time, and price ranges rather, and sort of the ideal price range that I'm going to recommend is like between like $50 and $125 is like the average for a lot of the products. If you get too expensive, people just don't buy those as often. They have to have a discussion with their spouse or partner or whatever, or talk to their parents to like borrow or like allocate that money to buy the product. But if you're talking like $50 on average or $100, people can spend that a little bit more readily. Tom says, and we'll go for 10 more minutes here. I have another thing that I have to do here shortly. So we're going to go for 10 more minutes. You could ask as many questions as you want, but I will have to go. I do appreciate everyone spending the time here. Okay. Tom says, when I find a keyword phrase with a keyword golden ratio of well below 0.25, does it mean that I don't need any backlinks to rank the post? Generally, yes. There are always exceptions. There are always unusual circumstances, but generally, yeah. And there are probably, people may have dropped off, but I know there were people on the chat that have published like a lot of keyword golden ratio content, like Lachey mentioned, like what she's been working on. And I know like it works. Like you may not rank in the top 5 or anything. It depends on a variety of factors, but like you're going to rank faster than like the other stuff that you were trying in the past, probably, depending on what you were trying. Chris says, I use Longtail Pro to find low competition keywords. You recently watched my video on the keyword golden ratio. You're not finding a lot of keywords that fit the keyword golden ratio. Is it pointless for me to target low competition keywords if they don't fit the KGR? Well, Chris, I'm not sure if we've exchanged emails before or whatever. So I describe my way to do things. There are many different ways to do things. I think the Longtail Pro data for keyword competitiveness is not very useful for the way I do things. Other people will tell you that it is very good and they love it. I will ask you to check to see if they're an affiliate for Longtail Pro, and if they are, then maybe they're a little biased, right? I'm not an affiliate for any keyword product. I don't care what keyword product you use. So the whole thing is, if you want to implement the keyword golden ratio, you can use Longtail Pro to find the keyword volumes, the search volumes, but it's not very useful to find the keyword competitiveness. And I could point to so many examples of people that said, well, I metrics from other sources, and it's just an approximation. We like to get like one number to make it easy that we can automate and like just put it into a tool and get a number. The keyword golden ratio works because it's virtually like impossible to automate it or like plug it into software. So Chris, that was a long answer. The bottom line is, if you want to do the keyword golden ratio, you don't need to worry about the keyword competitiveness. And I would advise you to just ignore the keyword competitiveness number because it's not useful. Okay, for Adam says, for the keyword golden ratio, keywords found below 0.25, does it matter that the results shown when you put in all in title don't show up in the actual first page when you use the term? It can matter. It depends, Adam, overall. If you are, it depends on the niche, it depends on the specific keywords, but there are definitely keywords out there that are really hard for niche sites to rank for. However, there's not like a hard and fast rule. So if you see a lot of e-commerce sites out there, or you see like medical terms is like the example that I can give, medical or health terms, if all the results are like WebMD, the Mayo Clinic, other big sites, Wikipedia, CNN, like you're probably not going to be able to rank your niche site in there. So it's more on the rare side, but there are terms like that that exist. Steve says, have I tried any sites like This Is Why I'm Broke, where you get traffic from social sources? No, I'm kind of an SEO person, so I stick with what I know. Webinars, or sorry, the webinar keeps going offline today. Will we be able to rewatch it later? Probably. I usually put these on YouTube. It'll probably be a few weeks though. And Paul says the KGR works very well for you. Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, it looks like we've dwindled down to a smaller crew. Any last questions before I jet? By the way, anyone on the fence about five-figure niche site and you're waiting to like buy, or you're on the fence or something like that, if so, let me know. Give me a shout. You can ask whatever questions you need. If you want to take it offline, you can shoot me an email and let me know. Lachey says, so generally it doesn't matter which keyword tool we use as long as we're following the basic method. Yep. Keep it simple. That's right. It basically doesn't matter. I will say SEMrush seems to be less accurate than other sources. Like I've been test driving Ahrefs, like the page, and its ref like information that they have is amazing. It's very good. So I think Ahrefs probably has a little bit better keyword research capabilities in there. So, but yeah, Lachey, you got it. Use a tool, stick with a tool, keep moving forward. Don't worry about it. Adam says you're very interested in the course. You'd like to email a few questions. Go for it. You could hit me at the support email address or at Doug at Niche Site Project. You could hit respond to any of the emails you've gotten from me, Adam, and I'll get back to you for sure. All right. Jared says, how do I feel about Amazon One Link? Seems fine. I started using it a couple months ago. I haven't checked my earnings in the last like probably month or something, but I think it'll probably at least be an additional like $200 to $400 a month or something like that in the site that I put it on. So it seems fine to me. All right, and Furhan says, what's the best email address? So either support at 5-Figure Niche Site or Doug at Niche Site Project. Any email that you've received from me, you can just hit reply, and I'll see it. So yeah, really, like if anyone has questions, I definitely will give you the best advice that I can give you for like the course. I have turned away at least 4 people this week when they gave me their specific like scenario. I either told them to wait or that there's a better route for them, and I gave them my advice. So I'm happy to I'm trying to help you, right? Like if the best way for me to help you is to tell you not to get the course, then that's what I will tell you. So yeah, would love to see those emails, the questions that you have. So definitely interested in that. Steve says you are on the fence, but you're going to buy today. Fantastic. Looking forward to working with you, Steve. Okay. Dennis says, have I used other affiliates like pay-per-call? Nope, I haven't. Chris says you signed up for the course. You can't wait to get started. Fantastic. I'm excited to work with you, Chris. And Brittany says you're nervous that you need to start completely over with the site, but I think you're probably all right. I know we've talked before, Brittany, and I hope to be working with you here pretty soon. I think you're probably in good shape. Tom says, how many guest posts would I typically need to send out to get backlinks for your post to rank well enough? Okay, there are so many factors. It's so hard to say. However, if you go and get like 10 to 15 guest posts, you're going to see traction. Like it's going to help you. So, okay. I do need to jet. I have a one-on-one meeting with one of my premium students from previous enrollment period. So I need to prepare for a few minutes and get ready to talk to him. But yeah, if you have questions, you could reach me at support at 5-Figure Niche Site, and I'll answer the question as soon as possible. Try and answer, to give you the best advice you can get. All right, thanks everyone. Really appreciate it. Adam, Tom, Lachey, Brittany, Chris, Dennis, everyone that hung on for so long. Really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time. I am doing a live stream tomorrow. It's on the YouTube side, 10 a.m., same time as today. I'll just do Q&A and talk about stuff like I do. So have a great day. We'll talk soon.